Good morning, quilty friends. Joy of Quilting here, talking to you today about how I machine quilt in the ditch. I've already machine quilted this log cabin we've been making in the ditch, and that's all around this edge, down, around. You won't really see the stitching when you shouldn't really see the stitching when you're quilting in the ditch. I use this purpley colour on top, this gold in the bobbin. Don't know if you can perhaps see, there we are on the blow, you can see a little bit of the stitching. So we'll go to the machine and I'll show you how to do this. Okay, so I've got my walking foot on. I've made my stitch length a little bit longer than I normally would use it. I've done a little test piece, checked my tension, and the stitches are as I want them. And if you want to know any more about any of these things, I have done previous videos on each of them, so you can go back if you're not sure or you just want to look how I do things. I've made a little tiny quilt up. This is, there's the top, the wadding and the back. So that's ready for stitching. We'll talk to you first about where the ditch is. Okay. When we put our log cabin blocks together, we ironed or pressed all our seams to one side. We didn't press them open. It's generally what you do in quilting is press them to one side. So you get all these lovely pressed pieces on the back. And you've got, when they're pressed, you've got 1, 2, 3 pieces of fabric pressed on the outer bit. And there's just the one on the inside. And the piece one is actually the ditch. Okay, if you turn it over and you run your finger along there, you come to a little bump. You have to jump up it. That's the one fabric, that's your 3. So the ditch is just this side of that little jump. So you're looking at putting your stitches in the ditch. That's on the one piece of fabric. So we start stitching here. So you work under your machine, needle down. If you've got needle down, use needle down. You can either put, we started at an edge, so you can either put a few stitches on the spot there to secure it, or leave a thread and put it through your work later. So we start, don't sew too fast, because you need to be in control of what's happening here. Because if you make a mistake and you go up onto the top, you will see it. I'll do that now just to show you. Just perhaps put one or 2 stitches over the top of the ditch. There we are, and come back. Because I'll show you how to correct that later. So you need to be in control of this, stitching along as near as you can to that edge with your needle down. When you come to the corners, if you're not quite sort of there, you can hold your quilt back while you make a small stitch. Okay, I think mine is fairly there this time. So raise your presser foot, turn your work around, put your presser foot back down, okay, and then begin to go down the other side. Okay, taking your time. I mean, I would go about this fast probably. Alright, and that's stitching in the ditch. Now I'll show you how to correct that little mistake we made. Now you could undo this work, take it out and do it again. And if it was this short piece, I probably would. But if I was been quilting a long line and I just gone over with 1 or 2 stitches, I'll cover it up. And if it was in blue, I would use a pen. But it's in brown, and I've got some fabric crayons. You buy them in little packs like children's crayons, and this is a brown. And you just crayon over your stitches, okay? And that takes the eye away from that, and you won't really notice that you've gone over by 1 stitch or 2 stitches. Next time we'll talk about actually straight line quilting onto the quilt. So see you then.